I'm going to share with you the 7 money habits of millionaires that most people learn too late. And these are the same habits that I had to adopt, going from someone who grew up in a family with no financial awareness to now building for my family a 7-figure business as well as a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. So without any further explanation, let's jump into number 1. They surround themselves with smarter people. You never want to be the smartest person in a room. You want to be around other people who are on that same path, but perhaps have already gone where you're looking to go. Then this allows you to get there that much quicker. Think of it, if you will, like you want to get driving directions to somewhere. You could just take a turn left, right, go straight, figure it out and end up there. Or sitting in shotgun could be someone else who's already gone that way and they know the shortcuts, they know the best way to get there, and they know the pitfalls to look out for. Habit number 2, they avoid lifestyle inflation. I can't tell you how many clients I've worked with where I see that they make more money and then they spend more money. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. You want to look at a position where you have a good understanding of where you're trying to go. And I think that it's very easy to put yourself in a place where now you have more to spend, so you want to get nice things. I get it. I love nice things. I think it's great. I grew up in a world where I didn't really have a lot, so I've always been pushed towards wanting to almost show my worth by spending money on things. You have to find that balance point where you're being true to yourself, you're living the life that you want to live, but make sure you're looking ahead towards the future. How far ahead do you want to look with your finances? Just because you're making more money doesn't mean you should spend it. Instead, look at ways that you can invest it, grow it, learn about it, and become interested in ways that you can actually be better financially, not just make more money financially. Which ties in perfectly with habit number 3. They look at the long term when it comes to investing. One of the famous sayings is, it's time in the market, not timing the market. The reality is that when it comes to these investment strategies, the longer that you minimize your risks and you have the ability to let that money grow and compound, then you have a greater chance of that money improving and increasing. So I'll give you a really good example from the most well-known names. Warren Buffett. That it wasn't until after 65 that he had actually amassed the majority of his wealth. The reality is that the growth of his money happened because he started investing when he was a kid. He started way back watching that money grow. And this is, I think, a really great example of how it's going to be investing in the long game. Number 4, and one that I think is the most commonly overlooked, is that they use debt to make money, not to buy liabilities. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Bad debt, credit card debt, probably the most obvious, which is now at an all-time high, trillions of dollars in credit card debt. And I get it, things are expensive. Car debt. This is also another example of debt that's not making you money. Cars depreciate right away. On the good debt side of things, mortgages. Borrowing money to leverage your cash so that you can invest in real estate and to grow your wealth. This is how you can use that money to make money. A good example for me personally, when I started investing in real estate, I went through and I leveraged that investment based off using that money to cover what the costs were. So if I could buy a piece of real estate and then the taxes and insurance and all the carrying costs of that, the mortgage, were all covered by the rental income, I thought that was a good use of my money. Now, fast forward, I've bought more than a few properties since then using this same model. Well, when I try to look back and compare what I owe on one property to the next, I have a problem matching those mortgages up to the property because the loans have been paid down so small that it doesn't even make sense to me. Point being is that I use that rental income to pay off the bank's money. It wasn't even my money in the first place, but now I own the property. Now I collect the rental income. Now I'm in a position where I've used that debt to put me in a position where I'm leveraged on my cash, on my assets, and future income. Habit number 5, and very important, is they maximize tax advantages. There's 3 things about money that are very important. It's how to make it, how to keep it, and how to protect it. Taxes fall into that middle section. How to keep it. It doesn't do you any good to make $1 million if you only keep $1 of it, right? You need to be in a position where you understand the tax strategies so that you don't have to, well, I don't want to say give away any more of your money than you have to, because there are good reasons for taxes. But at the same time, if you can hold on to more of that money, ultimately, well, that's what the wealthy do. We see this all the time in the media. You talk about these corporations that don't pay any taxes. The reality is the wealthiest people, the biggest corporations, they do pay taxes. They pay more taxes than anyone. And as you come to learn some of these strategies, you'll see that. It's not necessarily about not paying taxes, it's about paying the right taxes and structuring your money so that you don't have to pay more than you have to. Keep in mind, there's so many different tax strategies and tax advantages that you can use. That's a whole nother video that we'll have to cover. One of my favorites, well, when you're dealing with real estate, the taxes that you pay on your property, the interest you pay on your loan. These are deductions that you can take against your taxable income. Primarily, going back to the rental income that you earn on properties, well, now you have a way to offset that income so that you're paying less in taxes. You can also use the depreciation from that property. Using these different structures can minimize the amount that you're paying on that rental income that you're receiving. And habit number 6, they focus on earning more money rather than just saving more money. Here's a good way to reframe this. It's not just about what you're saving. Don't focus on the $5 cup of coffee. Instead, focus on how can I make an extra $500 that month. I can't say it enough, right? You have to invest in yourself. Regardless of what you do, whether you own your business, you work for a business, in any line of work, you need to look to see what can you do to try and earn more where you are. Stick with what you know. What can I do to either get a promotion, or what can I do to earn more for what I'm doing, not necessarily working more. I think a common mistake that we make is that we feel like the only way that we can earn more is putting in overtime, working Saturdays, going through and giving up your time. What the wealthy understand, and what people who make a lot of money understand, is that their time is their most valuable resource. You want to find ways that you can make more within that certain amount of time. We're all given the same amount of time in every day. It's what you do with it that counts. So investing in yourself to go through education to perhaps increase your earning at your current job. On the flip side of things, side hustles, right? Everyone's looking for different ways to make money. Well, that can be a very valuable skill set. Is there something that you're interested in or something that you're doing that you can turn into money? And number 7, and I think this is the foundation of all of these points and brings it all together, they prioritize ownership over labor. Right now, people own less than ever. Less businesses, less homes, and the reality is that you can build through owning businesses, through owning assets. Instead of going out and just looking at a way you can start a business, start looking at ways that you might be able to pick up a business that someone's already started for you. Take that pride in that ownership. If you don't want to go into business, you don't want to own a business, that's fine. Look at real estate, look at assets that you can build, own your home. Own an investment property. Look at ways that you can create something that's going to generate wealth or generate income and value that you own and maintain, not just something where you're paying for it and never comes back to you. And one thing that you don't want to overlook here, when I talk about buying these assets and not trading your time for money, you're purchasing and owning and investing in ways that your money can make money for you while you're sleeping. You can go through, and we used to call this mailbox money because you can have checks that would show up, right? Rental income that shows up, that happened passively. You can have your investments that then grow and turn into more money and compound into more money. So you want to put yourself in a position where it's not about working more, it's not about saving more, it's about having a better position where your money can actually make money for you.